Hi everybody. Like you all know now, my name is Will. I'm a junior here at the University of Richmond. I'm a PPEL major. And so I'll go ahead and start with an introduction to what my fellowship questions were. They were, what is a representative and how does a representative to constituent relationship work? Given that my fellowship experience was going to be in a congressional office on Capitol Hill, I knew that I would get amazing insight into my questions. I came to work every day in the Longworth office building and journaled my observations and questions from my day-to-day activities. Having worked with this representative in the past, I felt completely comfortable and free to ask almost any question that I wanted to. Not only that, but I was invited to sit in on weekly legislative briefings where I learned a ton about how the representative deals with constituent concerns. This all proved to be extremely useful for my academic exploration. I started with a set of basic questions and proceeded to elaborate on those as I learned more through my experience. One question that I asked in week 2 was, what method of contact can the constituents have with the representative that would be most constructive? I asked this after observing that it seemed much easier for organized groups and lobbyists to gain personal access to the representative than the common constituent. This personal access allowed for the lobbyists and other groups to have a much more direct and effective relationship with the representative, as opposed to the everyday constituent who would call or send in a letter to let the representative know of their concerns. From these observations, later in week 4, I theorized on ways in which the representative and constituent can work together to better this relationship. Ultimately, I came to the conclusion that there was an equal obligation between both parties to foster an effective relationship. For the representative, they should be an active listener and show all constituents, not just the ones who voted for them, that their concerns and opinions are being taken seriously. Furthermore, it was up to the representative to educate on the effective methods that the constituents could utilize to at least feel as if they have a trusting relationship with their representative. Conversely, it was up to the constituents to take the representative's advice and to make their method of communication as effective as possible. This can include the constituent having clear, concise understanding of the issues at hand and what they want the representative to do about it, as well as the constituent showing that their opinion is one that others feel similarly about in their district. After all, one constituent voicing an uneducated opinion, which I heard many times on the phone this summer, trust me, is just one out of 700,000 other opinions that the representatives have to take into account from their district. In essence, my faculty mentor and I slimmed it down to this. Constituents who want to get their voices heard have an obligation to organize. If they are not organized, the representative does not necessarily have the obligation to listen. If they are organized, the rep has an obligation to listen, and it's up to both parties to educate on the best path to go forward. As I continued in week 4 with my readings, I came across a section in Susan Dovey's book, The Good Representative, that spoke exactly to the theoretical relationship I was envisioning. In the specific chapter I was reading, it talked about critical trust building, which is essentially the duty that the representative has to foster easy, but more importantly, impactful participation among their constituents so that they can make good democratic decisions. This will consequently allow for the constituents to learn more, become more involved, and express their views in a more constructive fashion. Furthermore, Dovey describes a good representative as someone who is a good gatekeeper. Essentially, a similar concept, meaning that the representatives should allow for their constituents to have proper insight into the legislative process so that they can better understand useful methods to hold the representatives accountable and to achieve their political aims. As I was reading this, it was literally like a light bulb popped into my head. The perfect aha moment. The moment where I realized that the product of my ideas was exactly present in the readings that I was doing. This moment was actually motivational to me at the time, like, hey, maybe these ideas I'm journaling down are actually onto something. From this moment on, my questions became more in-depth and continued to align with similar ideas present in my readings. Overall, I genuinely had one of the greatest summers of my life this year and strongly believe that my academic understanding of representation skyrocketed, along with my real-world experience that this fellowship allowed me to achieve. Thank you so much to anybody in this room who helped me make this experience possible, especially Derek. Thank you so much, Derek. And especially thank you to my amazing faculty mentor. He's not here tonight, but Professor Colin Keelty. Without his brilliant political mind and his willingness to push me every week to learn more, this experience would have been significantly less fruitful. So thank you.